Welcome to African Heroes, where we bring you inspirational and motivational speeches from our heroes.
Go straight on to President Adesina and particularly ask you to touch on the point about agriculture and agribusiness, which was raised previously and which was also raised in the discussion yesterday at the Now Generation Forum. But also say a little bit more broadly about the areas where there should be added investment on the continent to help to leapfrog that economic development that's so important. And please remember, you've got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I say that as your friend.
Yes, thank you. I can go on because there are big challenges that we're dealing with. Well, first and foremost, let me say that as I sit here this morning, and as the whole conversation was going on, all I think about is how much we talk always about potential of our continent. Well, sorry, nobody eats that potential. We say that Africa has today 470 million young people. That's going to go to 1.2, literally almost 1.2 billion by 2050. Okay, fine. Question is this. 1/3 of those young people have no jobs. I think Minister Sise was talking. 1/3 of those are in miserable employment, underemployed. And so you have a youth population that's supposed to be an advantage for the continent, but they are actually not happy. If you were to measure happiness index in Africa today, and you measure it by young people, you'll be shocked what you will get. And so the critical thing that we have to make sure that happens is that we have to take this demographic asset that we have and turn it into an economic powerhouse for ourselves in the world, in skills, in entrepreneurship, in competitiveness, in all manner of industries. We talk a lot, of course, I'm president of the bank, so we talk a lot about GDP growth, right? Who eats it? No young person can take a GDP per capita to a market, to a bank, and borrow money because it's high. The GDP, it's not the issue. In fact, I think that as economists, we should relook at what we're talking about GDP. We should not be talking about just gross GDP. We should be asking ourselves the question, what is the contribution of young people to that GDP that we are talking about? And so, like you can call it why GDP, why not? Aliko Dangote is here. I thought he was here this morning. He started his business as 21 years old. Bill Gates, my friend, and I'm collective friends for many of us here, started his business at 19 years old. Look at Bozo. Look at Microsoft. Look at Zuckerberg. These are the guys whose own businesses run the world. And so the question really we must be saying is, GDP can grow just because you have a lot of oil, so what? The issue is, how are we turning our human talent, entrepreneurship capacity, to drive mega businesses for ourselves? And that's what I want to see happen on the African continent. We must invest in hope. The young people, they are the hope of this continent. And that conversation is not a conversation for tomorrow. It's a conversation for today. Look, the old people that we have, the elderly on our continents today, will not be able to have retirement benefits, I'm sorry, in the years to come, because most of the young people that are supposed to be employed to pay all of those taxes that will continue to make sure you have retirement, they won't be able to do that. So life is going to be miserable for the old people as well. And so the issue is we must be very focused on this. Now let me come back to the issues of what we can do about what we are doing about it. First and foremost, the Prime Minister mentioned the issue of agriculture. Yes. Again, potential. 65% of all the arable land uncultivated in the world is not in Asia, it's not in Latin America, it's not in Europe, it's not in the United States, it's in Africa. What Africa does with agriculture will determine the future of food in the world. But we can't just say potential. Agriculture, the size of food and ag businesses in Africa is going to be worth a whopping $1 trillion by 2030. So you want to be a billionaire? You want to be a millionaire? Get into agriculture. When I was Minister of Agriculture, I used to wear my bow tie just like I'm wearing this morning, because I think the coolest thing you can have as a business is agriculture. Who drinks oil? Who smokes gas? But you all had breakfast this morning. You're going to have lunch this afternoon. You're going to have dinner tonight. Food business is the biggest business, but we have to make it a cool business. Young people have to come into it as agriculture, as a business, not as a way of life, not as a development activity. I've said it as African Development Bank president. We're going to change the face of agriculture on this continent to a mega business. You're a minister here, you're producing cocoa, right? Lots of cocoa production. Your country, with Cameroon and Ghana, produce 65% of the world's cocoa beans. But we account for only 2%, $125 billion chocolate market. What's the brain surgery in making chocolates? Nothing. And so we've got to really make agriculture a powerhouse and getting young people into it. As the African Development Bank, we've launched a program that's called Enable Youth in Agriculture, which is, we've just done about $374 million in about 12 countries. And it's supposed to help 340,000 businesses of young people to come. They don't like to be called farmers, by the way, right? They like to be called agripreneurs. And I think that's a very cool way to be a farmer. The second thing I would say is what the Prime Minister said about the issue of the jobs of the future, the skills. Tech businesses are the businesses of tomorrow. And so as a bank, we are preparing that kind of a future right now. We have funds. You know, we don't even trust young people with capital. When a young person enters a bank, you see risk, 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 risk. You don't see opportunity. You don't see entrepreneurship. You don't see growth. And so as a bank, we're putting our capital at risk for young people. If we're not, then we're doing the wrong thing. And so we set up a couple of funds to support tech entrepreneurs. For example, we have one with EU. I think Stefano was here today. It's called the Boost, which is $200 million to support high risk but high-end businesses of young people on the continent. We set up a fund called Park Tech, which is €8 million facility to support, again, fintech and so on in Africa. We have another one that is called Africa Tech Ventures. It's about $10 million, again, supporting businesses of young people.
You have about 10 seconds.
Yes, I will finish up in 10 seconds. And what I want to say, just to close, is this. I'll give you just one example of what our future can look like. We supported Rwanda to have a $30 million facility for Kigali Innovation Center. They train people. One of them is a lady I'm very proud of. Her name is Clarice Irrigabisa. She was jogging one night. President Kagame was walking on the other side. She walked up to him and said, I want to talk to you about my business. And the military people pushed her away. She said, no, but you were trained after my African Development Bank facility. I went to Kigali Institute of Technology. But I have my business. So explain it very quickly to the president. President called her to the president's villa and gave her a small grant. Within 2 years, she turned that business into a $20 million business. That is the kind of youth we have in Africa today. Those are the kind of youth we should be investing in Africa today, because the youth that are here, I see many of them here today, they are not the future. They are the present of this continent. And I can guarantee you, as African Development Bank president, the most important thing we are going to do is to unlock that potential, because you have great potential to build the biggest businesses in the world. And we'll do that. Thank you.
If you enjoy this video, don't forget to share your comments below and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos coming up.